Hello, everybody. Just give us a few minutes. We're just having some technical difficulties. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope you guys are having a really good week. We'll be with you in two shakes. It's your moment to get something to hydrate with. Grab a snack. Two little lamb shakes.
Is that like two shakes and a lamb tail?
Yeah, because they're so little. They're like little and wiggly.
Right.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sunset Rants. I am your host, Biddy, along with my homegirl here, Valley. What's up, girl? Glad to have you back.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, absolutely. It is hump day. We have a lot going on today, and we are streaming exclusively on Rumble, which is amazing to hear, but it seems like there might be some tech issues or rubber banding here and there. So if there is, just bear with us. Otherwise, you're in for an amazing show today. Did you want to pop us off with the first segment?
Absolutely. All right, so let's go. Coming to you from the AP, Trump says U.S. gets rare earth minerals from China and tariffs on Chinese goods will total 55%. He announced today that China will make it easier for American industry to obtain much needed magnets. They put needed twice. And rare earth minerals, clearing the way for talks to continue between the world's two biggest economies. In return, Trump said the U.S. will stop efforts to revoke the visas of Chinese nationals on U.S. college campuses. Trump's comment on social media came after 2 days of high-level U.S.-China trade talks in London. Details remain scarce. Trump didn't fully spell out what concessions the U.S. made. Beijing has not confirmed what the negotiators agreed to, and Chinese President Xi Jinping and Trump himself have yet to sign off on it. So this is still in, kind of negotiation, waiting for it to be stamped for approval by the two leaders. What Trump described as a deal is actually less than that. It's a framework meant to set the stage for more substantive talks.
So now they're getting into semantics.
Exactly. I mean, you're making a deal with people because you're trying to figure out, like, what do you have that I want? What do I have that you want? What can we discuss here? There's going to be in August, there's some of the reciprocal tariffs that we've been discussing. Those are going to expire. That deal that happened then. And then, so there's also China's putting a 6-month limit on rare earth export licenses for U.S. businesses. So we're still in a back and forth kind of thing with China. But at the end of the day, you are making deals with these people because, we're living it while it's happening, whether or not it's an official, like, permanent thing forever. We're still living it. The market's living it. We're living it. Whatever you want to buy, China, imported goods that are coming from China, it's going to affect what's happening in our current state. So again, like you said, arguing semantics, but
right.
China will impose a 10% on U.S. goods, which is down from the 125%. And again, this is temporary. And these deals seem to be kind of overlapping in a way in order for both sides to have leverage on future negotiations. The rare earth minerals, materials that are used to make cell phones, car batteries for automobiles, military equipment, and so on. China does have a lot of this, and they're basically opening up for our businesses to obtain that so we can make our own. Tariffs 55% total at the moment. The components are 20% on fentanyl, 10% reciprocal tariffs, and then the remaining 25% on goods in general that was already in place before President Trump took office. Stuff like furniture, sneakers, Nike is there, toys made in China. And there was a smidge of a drag down in the market, but as we know, the market fluctuates, depending on what's going on and what the buyers feel. And then Trump reversed course on threats to revoke visas to Chinese students. So that was on the table, that everything that's going on with the revocation of visas for different reasons, that's something that Trump has in his back pocket. So he pulled it out in this negotiation, it looks like.
Nice. I mean, it looks like U.S. Customs blocked the 3 Chinese firms over forced labor, and they are denying allegations of forced labor, which we all know what is happening in China. And it really is human rights versus the green tech conflict and fast fashion and things that we've all discussed before. So I think these tariffs are a good thing. I think we can also do our part, right, by investing in American-made products.
There you go.
And minerals, it's a little bit harder, right? Because you can't really censor that as much. But I know this is something that a lot of people have talked about. I haven't been doing my research on it as much because, being in California, I'm really just focusing on what has been going on.
I don't blame you.
With these peaceful protests, if we get into that.
We absolutely are. And you know what? Why don't we just segue right into that? Because we're going to see more coming out about this and talks with Xi Jinping. And if they do that rubber stamp on this deal, okay, AP, with the 2 misspelled, added words in your article. But yeah, why don't you kick us off with the next story from the Hill, and Gavin Newsom's tears.
If we are able to pull that up, perfect. I wasn't able to grab that on my end. So judge will immediately grant Newsom's bid to limit Trump LA troop deployment. So, this has been a constant battle with state rights versus federal rights. Newsom coming out and saying this is infringing upon the Constitution, essentially that it is the state's responsibility to have the LAPD step in. The issue with that is the lawlessness has become so apparent, and the LAPD, essentially saying that they're not going to enforce immigration laws. People are just not stepping down. And, I do think deporting the, Marine Corps, it's like, I'm seeing like videos on TikTok where they're like, don't mess with federal troops. Like federal troops will fuck you up. Right. But it's like at the same time, are you willing to burn down your city in the name of resistance? Like, I think the whole thing is interesting, right? It's like, there's a lot that I'm actually seeing on X, and I don't know if maybe it's because I'm trying to get out of my little political bubble. But I am seeing a lot of left-wing resistance posts saying like, this is, the most powerful photos we've seen on the internet. And like, it is true. It is a very powerful stance that these people are taking.
Mhm.
But stopping traffic on the 101, looting mom and pop stores. I know Evan, I don't know his last name. He's on X, but he was like basically saying how like, oh my gosh, like we're looting Apple, one of the biggest monopolies in the US.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah.
first of all,
Mhm.
that's still looting. People are still working there. There's working class people working at these stores. It's not like it was, I'm not saying that raiding like the corporate office would be okay, but it's like, these are people just trying to make a living.
And just like in other places, they'll pull those places right out of there. Just like we saw with Walmart and other stores and Starbucks and other, when the last time they had riots, they'll just lose these places, these businesses.
Yeah, and like I wrote something on X, like I was like raiding sushi, like that's my fucking straw. They were like,
oh my god, don't even talk to me about sushi right now. I was trying to get it today. My store was closed.
They were like raiding like mom and pop sushi restaurants. They were raiding mom and jewelry stores.
Yes, I saw that.
Back to the article though. A judge has rejected Gavin Newsom's ask for an immediate order limiting President Trump's Los Angeles troop deployment, agreeing to first giving the administration a chance to defend itself at a Thursday hearing before issuing the emergency ruling. Newsom had earlier Tuesday asked a federal judge to immediately intervene to limit Trump's deployment of the National Guard in LA, asking for an emergency ruling by 1 p.m. that day. So U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer, however, granted the Trump administration's request for more time to respond to Newsom's request. The administration has until 11 a.m. Wednesday to submit its arguments. And so it's interesting because, again, I do think that this is a state's issue, but because I actually live in this state, I understand how the state is failing when it comes to law and order. Newsom, again, he's gearing up for a 2028 run. And the reason why he's doing this is because he is consistently playing both sides of the fence, right? So, he's saying, this is LA is the city of immigrants. California is a state of immigrants. We are not going to enforce these laws. And then on the next breath, he becomes moderately center-right Gavin Newsom, who goes on Charlie Kirk's podcast, who talks about law and order, says, if you're looting there, or if there's any violence, there will be consequences, while waiting 5 whole days at this point where the riots have completely escalated to come out and say this. He's playing both sides of the fence. And honestly, I think it's working. I don't like him. He's lost $24 billion that was he supposedly spent $24 billion towards the homeless in the last 4 years. We have seen a growing number of homeless vets on the street, especially if you are to look up like Skid Row, which is actually where the protests like started to take place in downtown LA. If you have
a spot that's like known, Skid Row, and it's been like that for a long, long time.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you know anything about LA, downtown Los Angeles is where Skid Row is. It's actually very dangerous to be in downtown LA now. So that being the epicenter of where, a lot of the riots are taking place, makes sense, right? Because you already have a lot of people living there that are depressed, that are out of their mind, that are possibly on drugs. Not to mention that this may be a coordinated event.
That people are getting paid.
Yeah, we do have evidence that there are multiple things happening, like the No Kings protest happening on the 14th. We have seen posts on it on X, so we know that's a coordinated event. So how do we know that these aren't all planned out beforehand? Right. So
there's something that came out about if you heard of SHRLA, it's like the acronym It's they said that that California State Representative Carl DeMaio alleged that these riots are caused by Shirla, that there's ties to protests from taxpayer funds.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, there was a New York Post link that I was looking at. It says one of the groups leading anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles is a taxpayer-funded activist organization with ties to the Democratic Party, while another has links to the Chinese Communist Party. It's the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights, that's the Shirla, which receives tens of millions of dollars in government grants through the Biden administration, staged a rally last week to denounce immigration and customs enforcement. And the protests against ICE have escalated since then. According to financial records obtained by Data Republican, Shirla received nearly $34 million in government grants, that's taxpayer funds, mostly from the state of California in the fiscal year ending June 2023, a jump from the $12 million it received the previous year. So this organization is getting our money. And you talked about it earlier, people's businesses getting looted and destroyed and windows being broken and stuff like that. So imagine being a business owner in California, in LA, right? You're paying taxes, you're paying business tax, you're paying your own personal taxes, and then you have taxpayer funded rioters coming in and destroying your business. It's not funny, but it's like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. If this is all true and they can really look into this, I think, like, the DOJ is looking into where these people are being funded, because I've always called them like the traveling circus. It seems like there's a traveling circus of people who are prone to rioting, that are paid off, well resourced. They have like these like amazing gas masks and weapons and things like that, and shields and whatnot, and all this other kind of stuff. So if that's actually happening, so you have them who are agitating crowds, you have people that are just joining, a lot of them don't even know what's going on, but they're just joining to be part of the fight. So if this is true, we have they're doing this on purpose. And then what, Gavin Newsom's going to come out later on and be like, oh, don't worry, it's going to be California 2.0, we're going to clean everything up. And then what, you're going to ask for money from the federal government to come and clean up this mess after the fact?
Yeah, look, now Gavin is suing the federal government. So I don't know if you heard about that.
Mm-mm.
But he is suing the federal government for essentially, something that Trump has said in the past. Like, he said that, we cannot deploy federal troops without the governor's position or permission. I'm sorry. And so that's what Newsom is going on. I really think this is like the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think this is like the battle of like two biggest egos. I'm trying to see. I'm so blind. Let's see some of the comments here. I've been saying since the beginning of the protest that the attendees were getting paid. Nobody will risk their freedom or life to do what those writers are doing without getting paid. Exactly. Yeah. Wild times. The thing is, they're just going straight out and saying it. I'm looking at a post from Pop Crave on X, which is saying over 1,500 No Kings protests, alluding to the fact that Trump is, a dictator, and that we, live in a monarchy, which is completely false. But it says over 1,500 No Kings protests are set to take place nationwide on June 14th in opposition to Donald Trump and his administration. Now, there's a couple ways to think of this. If you think that he is abusing his power by bringing in the federal troops, and it is a peaceful protest, I think you should have the right to protest. Now, if you're protesting because your understanding is that he is the deporter of chief, I have news for you, because the Clinton administration deported 10.5 million immigrants.
And their Lord and Savior Obama was like way more up until this date in his first term. Yeah.
Yeah. Obama deported at least 3.5 million. And then he got reelected with that same rhetoric. that
Mm-hmm.
you are an illegal alien and you are in this country, we will find you.
I
So,
seen somebody on CNN talking about, oh, it's not a crime to be here illegally. It's a misdemeanor, she goes. I'm like, last time I checked, a misdemeanor was a crime, lady. And there's also rhetoric coming out about how California was stolen from Mexico, and that's what they're saying, why people are there flying their flags. So I have two things to say. That one, it wasn't stolen. It was purchased in 1848 after a 2-year Mexican-American War. There was like a treaty of Guadalupe of Hidalgo, and we purchased California and other states from Mexico for the tune of $15 million. So we bought it, you signed it, you gave it over, it's ours. So nobody stole anything, we gave money for it, and that's basically like $500 million in this daytime. So it's ours. And the other thing, so the other thing I'm saying to that is, like, you guys are saying, oh, this is a peaceful protest. These people just want to stay here. They're not trying to do anything. This is not an invasion, so you can't invoke the Alien Enemies Act. But yet you're saying the people on the ground believe.
Is it the Insurrectionist Act? Or
no? There's two. There's the Insurrectionist Act. There's also the Alien Enemies Act, where in it says, like, you can, if there's an invasion, you can do whatever you got to do to get people out. So, but they're trying to quell that argument by saying, oh no, it's peaceful. But then you go over here and say something like this, where you're saying these people believe that it's their property of Mexico's. That's why they're flying their flag. So is it an invasion or is it not? You can't use whatever narrative you want for whatever argument you're currently having. And if they're out there burning things down and hitting people with rocks, breaking the ground, taking stones out of the floor to throw at cops, while waving their Mexican flag, like, no.
I mean, what I will say is, I did repost something from Thomas Matthey, and you, of course, and you had to be very careful, although I obviously don't think it's patriotic to burn the American flag. Nick Sorter came out with a post saying President Trump announces he will be supporting legislation to jail people for a mandatory 1 year for burning the American flag in the streets. It is an easy no vote. So Thomas Matthey says, bring this bill to the floor. This is an easy no vote for anyone who took their oath to the Constitution seriously. I do agree with that, right? I mean, we can't ignore the Constitution on so many levels. There is a right to, I think he's referring to.
Yeah, like there is a right to protest, but you can't like block traffic, or like somebody's trying to walk down the street and you're going like this, not touching them and going, I'm being peaceful. Like, they're literally chanting, I'm being peaceful, I'm being peaceful, I'm being peaceful. And they're walking in front of them and all of that. Like, no. We're not playing that game. You're not being peaceful. You're stopping people from walking down the street. You're throwing rocks at people. You're blocking traffic. I saw a video of some girl in New York, because they have protests going on in New York now, and they were blocking the street, and she got out of the car and she was like, yeah. No. It was like some girl in New York City, just some like random girl in the car.
Savannah Hernandez took the video, and it was like two white people coming out.
Oh, did she really?
Woman. Yeah, it was like two white people like coming.
And she's like, "Get out of the way! Like, I have a kid. I gotta get to work."
Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, and they're like, no, just drive over the medium. And she's like, what are you talking about? The fire, that's illegal. I can't do that. And then she says something brilliant to them. She's like, because you're doing something illegal, I'm supposed to do something illegal to get around you. And then what about all these other cars? So, and you're hearing things from everybody. They're all like his mass deportation and everything that he's doing, his numbers and polls are going up. Like, they even showed it on CNN that like people are for it. They want these criminals out of here.
I mean, so if you look at the case, Texas versus Johnson, right, is basically a decision by the Supreme Court in which the court held 5-4 that burning the flag of the United States was protected speech under the First Amendment to the Constitution, as doing so counts as symbolic speech and political speech. So in that, I'm just going through this really quickly. In this case, activist Gregory Lee Johnson was convicted for burning an American flag during a protest outside the 1984 Republican National Convention in Dallas, Texas, and was fined $2,000 and sentenced to 1 year in jail in accordance with the Texas law. Justice William Brennan wrote for the 5-justice majority that the flag burning was protected under the freedom of speech, and therefore the state could not censor nor punish him for his actions.
See, that I think is absolutely ridiculous. There has to be an amendment of some kind to that. I really, really don't think it's necessary. And I think it's extremely dangerous to allow people to just burn the flag in effigy, like, you know.
Yeah,
on the street.
Yeah, I mean, it says in the years following the ruling, Congress several times considered the flag desecration amendment, which would amend the Constitution to make flag burning illegal, but never passed it. So I'm assuming they would probably bring the flag desecration amendment to the floor.
Yeah.
And that perhaps they would either take that specific amendment to replace the Flag Protection Act, or they would, somehow change it or modify it.
But they have like the paperwork kind of drawn up already, so it's like all they need to do is just continue on with it. And I think they should. I mean, I know we all want less government and all this other kind of stuff, but that one thing, I think it'll send a message to people like, yeah, we have free speech, we have rights and everything like that. You're not gonna just come over here and start shitting on our flag. Like that it's such a slap in the face, especially to like military veterans and whatnot. I mean, can you imagine being a military veteran walking around with PTSD and you see somebody like burning a flag, and then if he does something about it, tries to stop them or whatever, or rips it out or whatever, he's gonna get in trouble. Like, it's just too much. It's too much hate. It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do agree this is a slap in the face. Like I said at the beginning, it's not patriotic to say the least. And, you are getting, you are reaping the benefits of the American people. But I guess the controversial question is whether or not it is unconstitutional to revoke that. I started to say it and that at the same time. And I was like, comments real quick before we transition.
Go ahead.
The American flag stands for the ability to be burned as protected speech. Yeah. So again, we go over whether or not things would be false imprisonment, whether or not, there should be a changed amendment. What does producer say?
This wasn't in the outline.
I can't see that. My buttons are on top of it.
But yeah, it's interesting. The one thing that that Mogeller said, I was actually looking into this earlier just to see the blocking of traffic is de facto false imprisonment. And it's not. It can get like really, really funny with that, but I think there should be something put in place with the blocking of traffic as well. I mean, it kind of sucks because I want us to keep our sovereign rights. Like I want states to have their sovereignty, and I don't want government to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what are we supposed to do? Especially, I mean, the flag is one thing, okay? But these people that are constantly blocking traffic, blocking, maybe people trying to get to a hospital to see their dying family member, or, just in a simple basis, trying to get to work, is everything supposed to just crash down every time people decide to get in front of cars and block traffic for hours? Like, there has to be something. Like, we can't just, and that's what they're doing too. They're using our rights and how we hold our rights so dear to our heart against us. So there has to be some kind of something, like I'm coming up with some kind of ideas. You're coming up with some kind of ideas. Can Congress come up with some kind of ideas like about this and stop arguing about nut stuff, and also term limits? Have that conversation altogether.
Yeah. I heard someone on like a space the other night talking about like not having term limits, and I was like,
Like, yeah, right. No.
No,
Yeah.
we absolutely need term limits. Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
So,
And we can't let them vote on it either.
No,
We need to have a different way. Like, let us vote. Let the people vote. Like, have a special election, vote something, whatever.
Yeah. So the international segment, more riots in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, so coming to you from ABC News, police use water cannon amid anti-immigrant violence in Northern Ireland town. So this is like the opposite. So these are protests that are becoming violent in Ireland, and this is anti-immigration. And this isn't the first time too. They were having protests of anti-immigration all last year as well. But it looks like they're continuing. Demonstrators pelted police with bricks, bottles, and fireworks and set vehicles alight on Tuesday in a second night of anti-immigrant violence in the Northern Ireland town of Ballymena. Police used water cannon and plastic baton rounds in an attempt to disperse several hundred people in the town 25 miles north of Belfast. Violence erupted Monday after a peaceful march to show support for the family of the victim of an alleged essay on the weekend. 2 14-year-old boys have been charged. The suspects have not been identified because of their age. They were supported in court by a Romanian interpreter. Several houses were set on fire on the first night of disorder on Monday. The police service of Northern Ireland said 15 officers were injured. Assistant Chief Constable Ryan Henderson said officers were, quote, actively working to identify those responsible for last night's racially motivated disorder in Ballymena and bring them to justice. He said the violence should be, quote, loudly condemned by all right-thinking people. Any attempt to justify or explain it is something else is misplaced, he said. So, I understand they don't want immigration. They're protesting anti-immigration because it's, you know, the people, they're bringing in people in a mass form that's basically just, you know, dissolving their culture that they have over there in Ireland, and, you know, other things that they have to worry about there, and some crime that's coming along with people that are coming in. But again, I would say the same thing. Even though I agree with them not wanting mass immigration, you can't get violent. Like, violence is never okay, no matter what's happening. Like, you can't hurt people out there. Also, it's mostly people that get hurt, or people have nothing to do with the situation, or their businesses get destroyed, or their homes get destroyed.
Right, I agree. Yeah, I mean, just as far as, you know, we're dealing with a couple things here, right? Because we're dealing with anti-immigration, and then we are dealing with, and then of course it looks like there are some fire that erupted on some trucks that were out there. I mean,
yeah, pelted police with bricks, bottles, fireworks, set vehicles ablaze. Yep. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
protest all you want, but this is not okay.
Yeah, but it's interesting when, you know, assistant. So it says the assistant chief constable, which is essentially, you know, like a sheriff, right? Saying that the violence should be loudly condemned by all right-thinking people. But in the U.S. here, if you were to say that the violence that has been going on in Los Angeles should be, actually, it's more than Los Angeles now. It's like Los Angeles, Atlanta, Austin,
Chicago.
Chicago. If you were to say a statement like that, like, you would be called like a bigot. I mean, it's common sense. Peaceful protesting does not equate to riots and violence.
Exactly. And just and you know, and like we say this all the time, it's like a broken record, but the media is so disingenuous. They're so irresponsible. But, you know, free speech, whatever, but don't just start saying things that aren't true. I mean, you have like cars on fire and stuff like that, and you're saying it's mostly peaceful. People are just hanging out watching cars burn, and then, you know, the cops came in and ruined the party. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they're just like they don't even care. They're just like totally gaslighting the public, and they're just adding more fire to the flame, making people think that this is cool. And then you have, like, you know, the Democrat politicians coming out and pounding their fists as they usually do and saying, you know, you have to push back against this dictator, this, you know, tyrannical president, and all this other kind of stuff. It
really has to do with more of how Trump presents himself. And, you know, maybe I'll get some slack for this, but it's always been, you know, how tough he is, right? It's always been how he presents himself to the media, how he's not afraid to take strikes at the media. Rather than policy. Because if you look at policy, there are many conservatives that are actually like, Trump's not doing enough. We voted for secure borders. So far, he's deported 140,000 people. Again, like I mean,
the border is closed.
Lowest.
Like, it's very quiet as far as people coming in. But yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, like they're like ramp up. Like, those are rookie numbers. Like, ramp up. But you know, but look at everything he's facing. Like, you could see it. You know, you got these violent protests. You got all these governors coming out. Like, I think it was like the sheriff of Seattle that just came out because they're probably prepping for the 14th, saying that they're not going to assist or, you know, any of the federal agents, stuff like that, which we understand. Like, if you're declared a sanctuary state or city, you're not allowed or whatever under those laws to assist federal agents. So, but you also you have a responsibility to take care of what's actually going on in your city too. You can't just say like you're not going to help them and then not do anything about all the ruckus that's going on too. So it's just like a hot mess. But it just seems like, you know, they're all kind of like prepping for this, and just be safe out there. I mean, I know it sounds scary, but definitely keep your head on a swivel. And I would just say to all those people out there, because I see a lot of my friends talking about, you know, on X and stuff like that and social media, talking about how they're getting pissed off and, you know, at what point do like we as the people should stand up and like defend our country. And I'm just like, I get it, I understand, but don't take the bait, because this is what the Democrats are trying to do. If for nothing else, on the smallest scale, to just say, see that the right is violent as well, you know, like, or something like that. But also, like, you know, you can get arrested, you know, and all this other kind of stuff depending on what you're planning to do. So just let Trump and the federal agents and ICE and all of them, let them handle it. They will handle it. You know, he doesn't want to just say, I'm not going to listen to the courts. Like, you know, he's letting things go through the process as well. Like, you know, like, we don't want him to be a total dictator either. Like, you have to kind of go through the normal processes. So again, I feel like this is what the Democrats do. This is what the globalists that are trying to inject, you know, all of this hatred and violence and chaos into our country. They're using our laws and how free we are here against us by saying we can just kind of manipulate things a little bit, and you can't say anything about it because of rights, you know. So it's
right. And I mean, there's at least 55 other countries that have very strict immigration laws.
Yeah, well, like Mexico. You can't go over to Mexico and, like, you know, wave the American flag, or Canada, and wave the American flag and be like, oh, you can't make me leave, and start throwing things at their cops. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that could never happen anywhere else.
Yeah, Mulgara says not just the Democrats, the Uniparty. Yeah. I mean, like, that's just like a whole other thing too. Like, a lot of the Western countries have a problem when it comes to the two-party system.
And controlled opposition actors and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot with the two-party system is, you know, picking the lesser of two evils. If you're not A, then you support B. It's
like an automatic
of a binary type of way of thinking that we have been conditioned into as Americans, right? And so, you know, it's interesting. I'll just say this. The Democrats in the 90s are the Republicans of today. You know, Trump is a populist, and all of his policies are what Clinton ran on, again, what Obama ran on. You know, like probably more so than Bush. And it's just interesting. Trump is doing the same exact thing, but all of a sudden the world is erupting because the pendulum has has swung, I guess, so far left. Let's transition. We do have a couple more stories we'll see if we can get to. We do have a local focus. Let's see. Does our producer want us to do both of them? Yep, we have this one pulled up right now. So we'll just skim through this quickly. Southern Baptist delegates at national meeting overwhelmingly called for banning same-sex marriage. They also called for legislators to curtail sports betting and to support policies that promote childbearing.
I understand this is kind of like a stance that you would hear from, you know, people in church. I mean, if you're going by the Bible and stuff like that. I'm more of like, I mean, you know, I'm conservative in a lot of ways. I'm a Trump girl. I'm registered Republican and mostly lean, you know, I guess I'd say I lean center right. I hate pigeonholing myself because you never know, like things change from one day to the next. And I'm just going to, however I feel about whatever it is at the time, that's how I'm going to react. I don't feel like you should keep yourself in a guardrail just because that's what you declared. Anyway. So, but I understand like where they're coming from, but I also believe like, you know, just let people do them. I don't agree with the, you know, with the other stuff that goes on where, you know, they have these parades where they're walking through the streets half naked and doing all this crazy stuff. That's when it gets nuts. You know, that's when you're bringing your sex life out on the street. But like whatever you do in the privacy of your own home or, you know, whatever, or I do you, like that has nothing to do with me. But, you know, you also, if they end up doing this as far as like in the state, it's something that might pass in the state, then or in the area, then you just kind of have to, I guess, go to where that's not happening. I don't know. It kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I like tend to agree with you. Like love is love, consent is consent. I think that, you know, I'm not a religious person, so, you know, I probably don't have the take that someone who is, you know, a practicing, I just lost the article.
Yeah, no, there you go.
Okay. You know, like I'm not a Southern Baptist. So, you know, I'm with like love is love, consent is consent. However, you know, if you get a child involved, if a child is ever involved, like I think lowering the age of consent is evil. I think that engaging with a minor ever is evil. I think forcing gender ideology on a child is evil. But look, you know, shouldn't be going back in history. And I think this is going back in history a little bit. I do also believe that it is a state's issue. I just think the federal government needs to stay out of things like that.
I agree. I agree. I totally agree. And you know, I'm just like in the thing of like, you know, when you go and meet your maker, you can have the conversation with God.
Right.
It has nothing to do with me. You know, I'm not going to pretend to speak for God. Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how that turns out. Do we have time? Oh, it looks like we got the caption this queued up. So why don't we skip over to that real quick? Have ourselves a little bit of a palate cleanser. We always need it around this time. So. Great bump. Oh. Talking about religion. A priest, a rabbi, and a Baptist. Is that maybe a Baptist or a pastor walk into a bar?
Walk into a bar, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys, do you know this game by now? This is called Caption This. We have an AI-generated photo, and we ask you, the audience, to please participate. Give us your funniest captions, and at the end, Valley and I will vote on the best one. So get to funny, get to thinking. I'm gonna see what I can come up with. I'm like, so I don't know.
All right. I don't know if we're still pulling up X comments from AK's. It looks like AK's live right now. So I'll post my caption this on there.
I'm just gonna start off with a really sucky one.
Mine's like very dark, but you know.
Oh wait, I forgot. We don't have like the. So yeah, if you guys want to participate, definitely throw it up in there in Rumble. Yeah. So throw it up in Rumble, you guys. If you want, you can go to my channel. I mean, this is not a show, but like Elizabitty213A on X, and you'll get the link to our Rumble if you want to participate in Caption This.
It is also Roma Nation, all one word. We are currently live right now. Oh, okay, there we go. We did get it.
Oh, cool. So in the US today.
I mean,
just asking.
I mean, you know, yeah, just asking.
The priest looks like John Hamm. That's funny. I need to see the picture again. Is this kosher? Who did Trump piss off today, bartender? Oh gosh. Abrahamic alcohol. Oh, they're coming in. Everybody's just like flowing in with the stuff. The priest does look like John Hamm. Now I have the picture back up again. Have you ever seen that show Mad Men? With John Hamm?
I haven't, actually.
Oh, it's good. If you ever want to start a new show, whatever, it's great. It's just like the outfits and like
some new shows.
It's so awesome. Really good show. It's basically about like, I think it's like the 1940s or the 1950s. Maybe it's the 1950s, I think.
Is Biddy running for president bartender?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm already going gray, so I don't need to add any extra stress.
You are not.
I am. I was doing my hair earlier, and I'm like, yeah, I have like a few little like, they're kind of pretty though. They kind of look like, you know how like, there's this trend now where people are putting in like little extension pieces that are like with flecks of shine. It's like, I don't know what you call that.
Like Tulsi Gabbard?
No. Although I love her hair. No, like where people are putting in these like little pieces that are like, it looks like tinsel that you would put on a tree.
Yeah, they did that in like the Y2K era.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm starting to see it now on like influencers. Yeah. They have it in their hair. But anyway, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm going gray too. Not fun. Yeah. I don't even know if it's gray. I think it's like silver. I don't know what that means. That might be worse than gray.
No, I think it just depends on, like, is that your natural color? Dark?
What? This? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I have like obviously pieces down here, but like, yeah, this is my natural.
Well, because sometimes if you have blonder hair, naturally it's more of like a lighter silver. I guess.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like the progression of my color. It would be that color. I would totally do the Tulsi Gabbard thing though. I love it. I think she looks so pretty.
Yeah.
A few in the
All
beard,
right.
yeah. That's
20
it. We're all in solidarity.
20 watching on Rumble, getting those numbers up slowly but surely.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So have you got like a favorite yet that you're?
I would have to go in both, I guess. Let me see.
What is this? Pickle me this. This is mad funny. I have no other caption. That's okay. Look, Garrett. You gave us a couple of good ones.
Let's see.
Ain't never getting sober. Oh, the beer's gluten-free. What's gluten-free? The what's that vodka? Oh my god, I never remember the name.
Most vodka, I think, is gluten-free.
I don't know.
If it's made with like grapes. Now, if it's made with like potato, then it's not gluten-free.
Yeah, there's one that's gluten. I think it's. I can't ever freaking remember the name. Oh, Tito's.
Valley is also who's controlling the U.S. today. I mean,
Valley's is good. Yeah. Where was yours? Where did you put yours?
in X.
Oh, in X?
On AKs, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's good. I do like that one. No circumcised jokes bartender. Oh my god.
Wow. Love that Valley girl. Okay, I think we have 2 for me.
Yeah. I do. I like yours too, actually. Because that one made me laugh right away. Yeah.
Are we keeping track? Because I've won a few times. I'm just saying.
Yes, we are keeping track. I put them in the caption this winners.
Okay. I mean, I'm not you guys. I'm not.
Yeah, I keep updating it. And and Navasa and AK are working on getting all like the captions together for the shirts and everything. So like I upload them. I can't wait to see like all of like the new shirts, like when they start popping up on the website with all of these like captions that we've been doing and stuff like that, and like the ones that win.
Speaking of, so I'm just gonna declare myself the winner. And should we show the website?
Yeah, no, I agree. I really liked yours. It made me laugh. Yeah, let's show the website. So just so you guys know where you can always find us, definitely go to riseofmiddleamerica.com, our beautiful website. I love it. You can see all of our latest posts, latest episodes, quick links for them right there. You have the links for Rumble, YouTube, X, and our Discord if you want to hang out with us. And the rest of the cast and everybody behind the scenes, if you want to come in there and chill with us, we're usually in there hanging out. So join the Discord for that. And of course, you can get our merch. I mean, it's the best way to support the channel, and you get some goodies as well. And also, if you go all the way down at the bottom of the screen, there's a PayPal link. If you want to just make a monetary contribution, you can do that as well. But I like the merch thing too, because you can actually like get something. So, and like go out and rock it. Maybe go to like, walk by one of those protests wearing like all the Romanation gear. The dishwasher t-shirt is hysterical. Oh yeah, this one is really good too. Air mother, do you bend it? Oh my gosh. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts? Are you keeping safe out there? I mean, I don't want to sound all fantastical, but like seriously though, like I know you're not really that close, but like I mean, I'm in New York too, so like anything pop off here at any moment, and usually does. But I'm
yeah. I mean, look, after the weekend, there's going to be what sounds like over 1,500 protests. So it seems like everyone is going to be in some type of, war zone. Hopefully things don't get too crazy. Again, my stance is peacefully protest, but you do not need to riot and loot and terrorize cities.
It's not peaceful just because you said it is.
Across and burn down the city that is where your home is. I think that is, very counterproductive. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, reinforcement versus freedom. Like, where do we draw the line? What's going on politically versus morally? We'll just have to see.
Yeah, no, I agree. Stay safe, all you guys. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Valley and I, we're always on Sunset Rants, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, Monday and Wednesday. Also, make sure you come back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, same spot for Tay and D. And right after the show, you will have AK and his Romanation show about 10:30. So you can come back right here for that. And as we always say, Valley and I, we're working on our next Facts and Sass episode. So hit that notification bell so you can get alerted when that drops. I hope you have a great Wednesday.
We have our own channel. So on Rumble, you can like Facts and Sass and join us in the audience when we go live.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely. Give us a follow on there. Share it with your friends. We're trying to grow that channel in the Romanation Network. So I hope you all have a great evening. And again, stay safe. God bless you guys. Bye.
Bye.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.